Welcome back everyone, we are here for another episode. Yesterday we defined that we wanted to start creating the WebSocket for when we enter on this page, do everything in a way that it's always real time, creates the room. Alright, so let's get straight into it. Let's start with our socket. Let's open a terminal for Claude. Let's open a terminal for the API. Perfect. Okay, we got it. You can see that we already connected to the squad socket, so we need to change this behavior. We need to make it so it only connects to the squad socket when we join the squad writing page. So let's take care of that right away. Okay, so I did some changes here. I just changed the name from squad, create squad to squad room. You can see that now it is called squad room. This is just so it's a more generic naming, since the room is already going to be created when you get into it. We want to make it so it's a squad room and not a create squad. It's already created. Now let's move on into having our map screen. So we click here, it redirects us to a new map screen, and then we select the point on the map. Let's do that. Welcome back, this is the next day. I was a little bit too tired to continue yesterday, so we are here today to continue. So to resume everything that I did, I decided to program a little bit today. So I did the map, I did a search bar for the map, I animated it, and I made so when we search, the search results pop up. I will search, for example, Los Angeles. There it is, it's already debounced, and when you set it, you go back and it shows the preview right here. This is a good step. We are doing everything on device for now. I don't have a database available, so we will have to wait a little bit before making operations with the API. So for now we are just going to do user experience. You can see that when we enter, it is not selected. When we select it, it selects here, and when we re-enter, it's already selected. So we are working with local storage, so this is possible to set it between screens. So let me go over a little bit what was done so you can understand everything that we did. You can see that our select location screen has made a lot of progress. I made sure that all animations are very smooth with React Native Keyboard Controller, the package I installed specifically for handling the keyboard here. So I don't use a keyboard aware view, I just use an animated view right here. You can see here it is, animated view, and it uses the animated search input position. What does this do? It transforms and translates Y when you animate to go up, and then if the progress is equal to 1, the padding bottom is 10. If not, it is the bottom inset. So you can see that it goes lower. Goes a little bit lower. If I set it always to bottom, you will see that it will go a little bit too much up. So I don't want that. I don't think that looks good. So I decided to do just 10, and then it animates perfectly on each state, which looks perfectly great. This type of behavior is actually not possible to do with a sticky view or a keyboard aware view, so I decided to do for myself. You can see that I used the hook, use reanimated keyboard animation, which makes everything much easier. It has two reanimated values, the height and the progress. You can see that I'm using height.get. This is the optimal way to get the value for the React compiler, and it works also pretty well when you are not using React compiler. I find it better for our use case because on the future, when React compiler is standardized, we can use it out of the box, and it's even better and more optimized. We have our router, our map ref, and our camera ref. You can see this is a different map from the map that we have on our main screen. And I said before that our map on the main screen would serve for everything, but this is not the case here. This is different because we have to select the location. If I want to do too much of a generic implementation on this principal map, it's going to be extremely unnecessarily hard, you know? So I create a new map just for selecting the location. It works also across different implementations. So for different modes, I can use the same map selector because it sets the state variable, and it works extremely well. I already debounced it. I created a hook called use debounce. Claude and we created a hook called use debounce. You can see, very straightforward. Just debounces the value based on the timeout and on the delay. We are doing 300 here. It makes our API request to the Mapbox endpoint, and it does everything as it should. It searches the location, verifies everything before. We have 3 state variables, one for the selected location search results and the search query. Very straightforward stuff. This is the use effect for the debounced location. You can see our debounced user query right here. Let's, for example, search for London. When you click, it goes to London, Ontario. That's curious. I didn't know there was another London. Nice. We have a preview to see where the location is. It refreshes also automatically when we get on the screen if it changes. In this case, it did not change, so no need to animate. You can see that here on the screen, it was just a very straightforward use focus effect. The use focus effect, if you don't know, renders back and reruns the function every time the screen focuses. It uses a use callback as a parameter, and then inside of the use callback, you can just get our stored location. We are getting it with async. We do set timeout for this, and so actually I think I can remove this. Let me just test it out because it's not really necessary for our case. Okay, so as you can see, we cannot remove that set timeout. Might be because of the time that it is setting the state variable right here. That's okay. We can just implement it back for 100 milliseconds and there it is. This was a state refresh, but if we do it again, for example, this time for London again, there it is. So works pretty well. Alright, so it loads the selected location if it exists. Then for handling when we get out, I might do another thing. Here, the button to push, you already know this component. We didn't change anything in it, and we were doing it last video or the previous to last. Yeah, this is the component we created. I think it is a good time to go into the vehicles, which is actually a component that will go down here. It is one of the parts I think is most interesting when it comes to customizing your experience here on the app. Since many people have different cars and they want to enjoy their cars, they can register all of their cars here and we can make a highly interactive experience. For that, we are actually going to use a local database to do it offline first, and we might implement some cool stuff to make sure that it is the best experience possible. Another thing I would like to note down is if you look and if you notice, when you go into these screens, you don't have the bottom tabs anymore because I changed the project structure for us to have the select location and the squad room screens outside of our tab. So let's move in to the vehicle creation. I will start by just adding a new tab here to our layout called the vehicles. So there it is. We have an error. Vehicles. Perfect. Let me create a screen for this. We can just create a normal screen. Okay, there it is. You can see we can use let's see what options we have. Vehicle, car. So this is material. Let me use ion icons. Yes. You can do, for example, car sport, which is a good one. You might also notice that this is already getting a little conflicting, this button. I noticed that you have certain applications here on iOS that have the ability to customize this. You can see this is kind of like a bottom tab, but with a button here. So if we find a way to do that, that would be the preferred way, because I don't want to deal with having to do it differently, you know. I'm pretty sure that we can find a way for this or find a better position for this button on the future. So the most important right now is that we move into the vehicles and we start developing a cool interface for this. I can show you that on our previous project we already had something pretty cool. Let me share my screen so you can see. Okay, we are inside of here, so it is here, my vehicles. You can see that I have my car here, and inside we have a pretty cool interface. We can do way better right now. This is also used with local database. You can create your vehicle, you have cool animations. It's local first, so very straightforward. And honestly, I think I will go for equal design. There are many other fields I can maybe include. And one very important thing that I want to do on the future is also have the opportunity to have an extremely advanced API to find your specific car and put all of the information of your specific car on our database, which I find the most customized and the best experience for the user. I think that I will just transition this code into here. We can start from there. I will be back in a little bit. All right, let me explain you a little bit of what is happening. As you can see, we don't have a header because this native tabs library does not give us headers. So I will need to put it inside of a stack so we can handle it the way that we want. It's very straightforward. We just put it inside of a stack and then we have a layout saying that this is a stack. I just wanted to give you the heads up, and I will be back when I have that done. Okay, there we have it. You can see that the vehicle screen now has our header. Okay guys, as you can see, we already have some cool UI. I don't know why there's a Tesla here, but yeah, don't mind that. So we have a very cool car down here, and we copied the UI and made it everything extremely similar. We might want to change it on the future, but I like it for now, like this. You can see that we have our header and we have everything looking great, our blur effect and our customized scroll bar. So it is exactly how we want it. There is just a small issue that I want to explain, that when we are dealing now with iOS 26 native tabs, you can see that for some reason it's a little bit more to the left. It does not look good. It's not aligned. As you can see, my code is making it so it's aligned. There is no changes, nothing, no margin right, no associated stylings. I can even remove this. It's the same. So what I'm trying to understand is why, and I already took a look at some code. I tried going into the layout and see if we can apply a styling. No, nothing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave it for now. I'm not going to mess with it, and I will move on into the next thing. These are two example vehicles. You can see that if we go into here, we have a use effect setting these two. For some reason, Claude, as you can see, he just grabs a photo of a Tesla out of an ID, which is pretty impressive. And he has a blur hash also, which is amazing. Very straightforward stuff. I used my component from the previous project, the vehicle item. Seems like he did some touches. You can see that it has a little bit of a different color. And he imported all of the style sheets. Okay, we are done. As you can see, if we enter, there it is. We have a very nice looking page with a cool scroll effect. So this scroll effect is natively from React, and they implement a parallax view that you can use right away and implement it. I customized a new one for the vehicle parallax view to have these cool fade in, fade out effects. You can see it looks actually pretty nice. We have our header right here. We implemented just normal navigation. We aren't using database for this yet, but we will use Expo SQLite with Drizzle implemented on the next episode. So next episode will be mainly setup of our local database. We will implement Drizzle also, so we can communicate with the database on a very organized way. Thank you very much for watching today, and